Hi everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Just to warn you guys, I'm going to be talking a little bit quieter than I normally do and I have my mic a little bit closer to me just because I have some sort of upper respiratory infection and it's not feeling good. I'm very tired and sleepy, but I really want to get these videos out to you guys. A couple other things. My lichen scrunchie pattern is now available. It just released the day I'm filming this, but it'll be out obviously when you guys are watching this, so please go show it some love, check it out. The testers did such a fantastic job and their colorways and their versions are so beautiful as well. And then another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about really quick before we get into these lovely summer patterns is I opened up channel memberships and it's $4.99 a month, and really it's just if you want to support me as a creator so that I can continue on this journey. I'm hoping that one day I could make YouTube and knitting patterns my full-time job, so if you want to support me through that, we have lots of fun perks, so some behind the scenes, members only things, as well as 50% off all of my patterns, whether you're purchasing on Ravelry or Etsy. So if you want to support me, please check that out. I would be so grateful. I also did a poll seeing if there's any other perks people want, and it sounds like maybe knit nights would be fun or a Discord channel, so I'm open to those and adding those perks as well. I just want to hear from you all and see if that's something you're interested in, or if you just want to support me, you can join as well. So all that being said, I want to share today with you guys just some summer tops. I feel like sometimes in the summertime it's really hard to keep the knitting mojo going, and so working on beautiful tops I think is something that always keeps me really inspired to keep knitting through these hotter months. So I figured I'd share some really lovely patterns with you guys today. So the first pattern that I want to share with you all is the Barbara Blouse by Pernille Larsen. This pattern has these beautiful scallop knit details. So it's this really beautiful all over lace sort of pattern that creates these little scallop shapes sort of, and then there's a little keyhole in the back. Just all these really thoughtful elements, like the little bit of scallop around the edges, like the top neck edge, as well as the body and the sleeves, and that little keyhole in the back is just so romantic and beautiful. I think the fit is so lovely and very feminine. Obviously, I think depending on the color you choose, this could be such a statement, or it can be just leaving very plain color like the sample and having the statement be the texture itself. So this is just a very cool piece. I feel like this would take a lot of love and a lot of time to knit this, but I think it's worth all the love because of what a beautiful garment this creates. Just keep in mind this will be a hefty project because it's knit on 2.5 and 3mm needles with light fingering weight yarn, so this is going to be a labor of love. But personally, I think that is worth it because of the gorgeous outcome. So that's number one, the Barbara. The next pattern that I want to share with you guys is this really beautiful Ilana camisole. It is a very typical camisole shape with a little bit of a not a super deep V, a very subtle V neck shape I would say, and quite thin straps. So it's a very classic shape, especially for these knitted camisoles. It has the V in the front and the back, really beautiful romantic cables, and the cropped length. I just think it would be really beautiful for summertime or with any outfit. I really like, once again, a subtle color for this to really allow the cable stitch pattern to pop. And the really nice thing about this is it's knit top down, so you can totally decide the length while you're working on it. It is fingering weight, so it will take quite a long time, especially like on those 3mm needles, but once again, it's a labor of love that is absolutely worth the time it takes because it is such a lovely piece. Moving right along into the next pattern, I found this one on Instagram and it doesn't have a lot of Ravelry projects. It only has 13 projects on Ravelry, so this one is a definitely underrated pattern. This is the Tuileries polo, and I think we're seeing this trend of the polos coming in. Especially last year we saw that happening a little bit, but it's really starting to come to fruition this year as well. And there's something so lovely about the way a knit version of a polo drapes and flows, and it feels very correct for summer. This one in particular is so beautiful. I love the statement of having quite large buttons for the polo. It makes it feel extra casual and nice for the nice for any type of beach day or going out with friends to a park. And then the lace on the pattern makes it feel so airy that this doesn't feel like it would be overwhelmingly warm or anything, and it just seems like it would be very comfortable to wear during the hotter months, even with it being knit. This is a sport weight, so it's a little bit thicker yarn than typical summer patterns, which is nice because it'll be a little bit quicker to get through. I had to take a little break to cough. I wasn't kidding when I said that. I am very sick, and that's why my eyes are watering. The fit of this polo is really lovely too. It almost has a slight cinching to the waist just with that band at the bottom, and same thing with the sleeves, and it creates this very lovely effortless shape. So that is the Tuileries polo. The next pattern on this list is something that I'm so excited for. I've seen quite a few people talking about this pattern. It is the mixed rib cami by Handmade by Florence, and there is just something very special about this pattern to me. I don't know if it's just the fact that the ribbing is mixed, it's a bit irregular, but it still has a symmetry to it. It's like 3 small ribs and then a big chunk, and this to me looks like a store-bought top or camisole, but I mean that in the best way possible. Like it looks like it's knit very tiny, like probably a light fingering weight yarn, and it is such a beautiful shape. It's a little bit different than some camisoles because the width of the shoulders is a little bit wider than other camisoles, can come in quite tight here, but this one has more of a boat neck shape, which I personally prefer for my body type, because when things come in the shoulders for me, I don't think it looks quite as flattering as when it's opened up a little bit like this one is. And so that like boat neck shape is really lovely. I love this little detail at the top. I don't know if it's I-cord edge. I believe I think High Fiber Knits was talking about that it is an I-cord edge. It's really lovely. I love the color chosen for the sample by Florence, but if you've seen High Fiber Knits talk on their channel about their version is such a lovely purple color, and I'm just getting so excited about this pattern, and I'm just excited for it to come out. I'm really looking forward to it. So I don't know when it comes out, but I will try to add the link once it is out. So apologies that this pattern isn't really released yet. There's a couple on this list that are like that, but I feel like they're worth mentioning anyway because there's a lot of buzz about them, a lot of talk, and for good reason because they are so gorgeous. So that is the Mixed Rib Cami by Florence. Okay, so the next pattern on our list is the Remy camisole. This camisole is a very classic shape with a double rib, deep V-neck line. So very classic camisole, but so elegantly done. The details are gorgeous. I really like that the recommended yarn is cashmere. I think, you know, this is just like a bit of a treat to make. A beautiful camisole out of cashmere would be so soft and so lovely, and it is DK weight yarn, so it won't be as much of a venture as some of these other summer knits can be. I forgot to say this is by K-Tree, the Remy camisole. But yeah, it's just a very classic camisole look. It's similar to camisole number 7, but a little bit more minimal in the sense that it doesn't have that kind of faux shaping in the front. So if you're not trying to draw attention to this area, but you do like camisole number 7 and that sort of feel and look, this is a really great option. I also think that this would be so amazing as a lounge piece, and I don't think that there are a matching short pattern or bottom pattern to go with this, but I would highly recommend to K-Tree. There's no way K-Tree's watching this, but I would recommend that there be a shorts or long knit pants version to go with this, because this would be the cutest matching set. So that is the Remy camisole. If you've been following me for a while and watching a lot of these pattern roundup videos that I've done, you may have seen that I have talked about the Rikke sweater before because it is so gorgeous by Katrine Hannibal. Now there is a summer version. I know they had a Rikke top, but this is the Rikke tee that is being released now. It's got everything that I loved about the sweater version, but just as a very summery t-shirt version. Now, if you've already bought the Rikke sweater, this actually comes as an appendix to the sweater. So it's like a 2-in-1 pattern. So if you've already bought that one, they released an update with the appendix on how to make this t-shirt version. So I just thought this was such a great idea. It's got the beautiful eyelets, the really intricate texture, the gorgeous raglan, everything looks lovely. This is such a beautiful flowy, very much a flowy yarn was chosen for this. There's something about lace and eyelets and holes in knitting that feels so right for summer, so I think this was definitely a good call to do a summer version of this because it just feels very airy and lovely. To be a bummer again, I know that this is probably a little bit annoying, but I hope, you know, this is for pattern inspiration, so it's nice to see what's coming out as well. So the next pattern isn't released yet, but it is the Amoretta Blouse by 100 Acre Wool. Bella from 100 Acre Wool has been talking about this a little bit and posting it on Instagram. This is perfect. This is exactly what I've been looking for, what I've been wanting. I am desperate to get my hands on this pattern. The little scalloped edges, the really delicate kind of scoopy but a little bit v-neck neckline is to die for, and then the little button band. I think I totally agree with Bella when she says that she would mostly only wear it closed. The button band is just really to be a decorative touch, and I honestly couldn't agree more. That is exactly how I would wear this. I would probably go ahead and knit this with a long sleeve because I have been dying to make more little button down cardigan style long sleeve tops that are like worn as tops and not worn open as cardigans. And the sample color that she used as well is the perfect minty kind of light sage with really pretty white buttons. It's just so delicate feeling. It feels so feminine. It feels so gorgeous. And once again, this feels like a store-bought piece, but almost better even, I would say. Like, it just has this really store-bought feel, but also something about it feels like too good to be store-bought with the handmade touches, I think, with like the scalloped edges and things. So I really adore this pattern. It is so gorgeous. This is kind of what I was going for when I made all my modifications to the Caspar cardigan that I knit, and that's why I want to make this one as soon as it comes out, the Amoretta, because this is really what I was trying to go for when I was making that. So that is why I included this one. I can't stand how pretty it is. I hate to do it to you guys, but I have to because you're gonna understand why when you see how beautiful this pattern is. But one more unreleased pattern. This is by Amoretta Knit, and this is the Manon cardigan. It's releasing sometime this week, so do not fret. It could even be out when you see this video. Who knows? We're back on the vibe of the buttoned tops that are worn only buttoned. They're not worn really open. This one maybe would be more versatile in the sense of wearing it open, but I really love it closed. The texture is so, it feels chic, it feels elegant, it feels fashionable, and it kind of reminds me of Chanel. I think I've seen a lot of these kind of patterns that are feeling reminiscent of Chanel, especially the shaping, that little gentle scooped neckline and just the shapes of the sleeves and the texture with that button band. It's just really feeling designer. So I'm really loving this pattern. I can't wait to see what happens when it comes out. It's so exciting. But yeah, that is the Manon cardigan. Our next pattern is kind of an interesting name, but it's T01 by Pia Elverich. This feels very high fashion, very designer to be naming their patterns like this. I've seen some of their other patterns are like M01 or whatever. like almost like a skew name. It feels very high level fashion. But anyways, this is just construction at its finest. This is construction, construction, construction. It's just like, how do we make something very interesting construction wise? I keep saying construction, but you'll understand. So if you're looking at this, the back is this beautiful low scoop, so romantic. Oh, a dress version of this could be fabulous. And then a very soft V in the front. But if you notice the straps, instead of kind of shaping the straps coming to the V, the straps look like they come straight down and then the V is added this direction. So it's almost like the shaping is opposite than what we normally see for this kind of camisole. And I think that's why it's very unique and interesting to me. Not a lot of people have made this yet, but the shaping is so elegant. And this pattern, for example, is a version where I would get the craziest hand-dyed yarn that's like dark and then white on one end, so that you get that really weird kind of like wavy looking coloring from the hand-dyed yarn. I think that would look so cool with this style of camisole. Especially just like the ribbing kind of brings it all together in a really interesting way. I've seen a lot of inspiration of using those really crazy hand-dyed yarns, and I think that works really, really nice for a top like this. So that is the T01. So high fashion, so crazy. Okay, then the next pattern is Top Chloe. So I'm guessing the Chloe top by Mochi Knits. She has a cat in one of the pictures. Oh, it's so lovely and it matches the outfit. So cute. But this is really, really beautiful. This also feels very much like store-bought because of the way that the shaping goes through the bust, where you have this through line in the middle and then the increases come from around that through line into this lovely v-neck. So that feels, I've seen a lot of tops with that similar kind of construction, I think at Aritzia and those kinds of brands. The strap is so much nicer than those brands because it looks like some sort of really thick, really strong I-cord. Yeah, so it is an I-cord strap, but the way the I-cord is done is so nice that it like creates a tube. I know I-cord's like supposed to make a tube, but this one looks really full and nicely tubed. It looks really good. I think the cropped length in the sample is really nice with like beautiful linen pants, something for work. I think this is a gorgeous pattern. And then once again, we're seeing a lot of these really soft V's this year. Like this V is quite soft as well, but maybe that's just the nature of knitwear, is you're not gonna really have a very sharp V. It's quite soft, but it kind of gives more of a scoopy neckline than super harsh V. I like how feminine and how soft that can be. I think this is a really great pattern for someone with a larger bust like myself. I think anytime you have something that's a V-neck, but it's still slim and has I don't know if it has waist shaping, but it is quite fitted to the waist. That is usually very flattering when you have a larger bust, so this could be a great pattern for me. As that can be an issue sometimes if I make something that's too flowy. I feel like it just creates this boxy kind of shape. So this pattern, the way it's shaped and it's quite fitted and like zero ease would, oh yeah, negative ease. The fact that this pattern is negative ease, I think that shaping is really flattering for that type of body. So yeah, love this pattern. The next pattern is Velocore by Andrea Mowry. Now, if you know me, you know that I am an Andrea Mowry fan. I'm an Andrea Mowry lover. She nails it. She just gets it. This is such an interesting pattern, and I think she kills it by just making interesting shapes and interesting colors, like play with colors, and really, really unique texture. Like, as you can see, this is very different than any of the other patterns, but it's got this kind of boat-ish, I would say boat-ish neckline, but that also, once again, really opens up the shoulder area and has this thick band at the top that kind of runs over the shoulders. So instead of having a collar, that collar kind of forms and creates the shoulders. I don't even know how she achieved this construction. It is very beautiful. Texture throughout the whole t-shirt, I would say it's kind of like a t-shirt. The texture throughout is incredibly unique, fantastic. You get these really thick lines, but then you almost get lines going this way as well. And if there was ever a time to use hand spun yarn, if you've been spinning, this is the time. This is such a fun gorgeous piece. I think such a fun way to use hand-dyed. Wanted to put something in that's a little bit different, a little bit fun, a little bit more colorful. We're working our way up to some a little bit more colorful patterns, but really loving that Andrea Mowry pattern. Next top pattern is the Love Letter top by Veronica Lindbergh. Yes, yes. This is just a yes. This is so cool. To me, I guess the sample is very beachy feeling. It has so many cool textures. I heard someone talking about this, I can't remember who it was, but they were making this and they said that it's reminiscent of the Ingrid sweater. And if you've seen the Ingrid sweater by Petite Knit, you know you like work one section in a texture, then another section, then another section, and it really keeps your brain busy and happy working on this. And this is similar in the way where you're working one kind of like these leaves and then little beautiful eyelets and then these little diamonds, and then you're moving on to the hearts, and then you keep moving on to different things. So as soon as you kind of get used to doing one part, you get into the next. And so I think that's really engaging as a knitter, especially if you want something where you can concentrate and like keep your attention and keep yourself busy. This is such a great pattern for that. If you want someone to know that you made your top, this is a great pattern because it's got all these interesting details going on that a machine could never achieve. And it's just a very gorgeous shape with the little scoopy neck. The way Veronica's wearing it tucked into the pants, I think it's very chic, but it is very playful. So it's a very playful pattern, very fun. The next pattern is the Nexie vest. This is something that I've been really having on my brain often, is this tank top style, but it's open at the sides and tied at the sides. I think this is a really, really cute style for summer. You could wear it as a bikini cover-up, or you could wear it with a really beautiful bralette or some sort of bandeau underneath to show that off on the sides. It's kind of reminding me of the style in the 2000s, and I think as like the trend cycles come through, we're kind of coming back to this shape perhaps. It's very fun, but obviously this is a more modern take than like the 2000s era. This list has zero stock in it on it, I feel like. I can't remember if there was some earlier. My brain is not working great on account of me being sick, but yeah, this is garter stitch, so I mean, just whip by on the needles, like going back and forth in garter stitch. You don't have to worry about purling when you're going in your rows, so that's really amazing. I think this is opposite to the Love Letter top we just saw, and that one being really complicated. This should be very mindless and quick to knit. So that is the Nexie vest. Coming up next, wow, we actually have one stockinette piece. Okay, I had to throw this in because there are a lot of t-shirts out there, but this is the Freestyle shirt by Suzanne Muller. This is one of the most nicely constructed t-shirts, knit t-shirts I've seen. The double knitting here on the collar and the double knitting on the sleeves. I don't know if maybe they're just a really, really talented knitter and that's why it looks so crisp and beautiful. But there's something about these raglans, the way they go inward instead of like, you know how usually you have a line that comes outward? I don't understand this technique or how they achieved this. And it looks like minuscule needles or yarn, but it's sport weight yarn, which is really interesting. I think maybe what's achieving this look that I really, really like is the fact that this yarn is a little bit thicker for the needle size. So it's a sport weight yarn and the needle size is 3.5. So that in theory would give you a little bit less drape, but the way it's shown here and on the model, it does still have a nice amount of drape. It's just that it has the, and it's probably because of the type of yarn being used. Oh, well that's, I think it says cashmere for the suggested yarn. It looks like it's cashmere, so that makes sense. But it's drapey, but the stitches are so tight that it looks so crisp and so clean. It's just the if you want the ultimate minimalist, clean, aesthetic looking t-shirt that you can wear every single day, this Freestyle shirt is the way to go. And yeah, it doesn't say what technique is being used to get these raglans. I don't know how they did this. This is very perplexing to me because it looks like those stitches go inward. I wonder if they purl that. I wonder if it's a pearl. I don't know. I know. That's really interesting. The last pattern, this one is very exciting. We got our little pop of color and this is just so fire. I love this pattern. So this is the Rumple Raglan by Lydia Morrow. I cannot believe how like intelligently designed this pattern is. The way the colors change. I don't know if the yarn that they're using is what's changing these colors throughout. I can't tell what's going on here, but I love what's going on. Maybe their yarn changes colors, maybe their yarn, I don't know, but this is so cool. There's these really thick raglans here where there's just the solid colors, but then throughout you get these stripes of lighter colors, so like your contrast color, and that has such a cool effect. It kind of gives the same effect as doing ribbing. It has the same effect as doing ribbing, but without doing ribbing, because the ribbing texture is the color, if that makes any kind of sense. The bottom band, once again, is just the solid color, and the collar is just a solid color. I think what they did here is they used a self-striping sock yarn or something, but because this is not a sock, the way that the stripes happen were like not correct, and it creates these really interesting shapes in the colors. That is my guess. So definitely fingering weight, so it could be potentially that stripy sock effect. This is so cool. Once again, I would love this in a long sleeve version for myself. I'm very excited that I found this pattern. This is also, I think, a piece that maybe you'll knit in the summer and potentially wear as a summer piece, but for the transitional seasons, I think is where this will really shine. And you could go for really, really over-the-top colors like these samples, or you could do really, really subtle or like fall kind of colors or soft colors. Just depends. You're gonna get a totally different vibe depending on what colors you choose, which I think is very, very cool. That is all the patterns for today's roundup. I hope you had fun here. I'm sorry that my voice is like this weird ASMR tone. I hope it was bearable. I kept coughing still, so even with like using my voice less, this was still difficult. But yeah, once again, please let me know if you have any suggestions for the memberships, if you'd be interested in joining. You know, I want to know what your ideas are, and please let me know if you have any other video ideas, because I want to please you guys. And I love hanging out with you all because you make me so happy, and doing YouTube videos makes me so happy, which is why it's something that I will still do even on a sick day. It's something I love. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.